You're a wizard. Wait, no, I'm the wizard. A rat wizard. Maybe you are too. Who knows? All I know, friend, is this is Harry Potter. He's a young orphan who's about to have his whole life turned upside down. Mainly because he's about to go to the most dangerous school to ever exist, Hogwarts. There's a whole host of things waiting for Harry Potter to come to die. But not on my watch. I may not be the brightest student, but I'm dedicated to ensuring there are no deaths in the first 4 years of LEGO Harry Potter's story. Well, of the characters I control anyways. Those other guys? Well, I'll mourn them when I have the time. If I do die at any point, my fate is grim as I'll be held back all the way to the start of the game, forced to repeat school. Truly a dark fate indeed. Grab your wand and your nearest Weasley. Let's go survive the perils of education. Before I can even start school, my awful aunt and uncle have to face a barrage of letters and a horde of zombie owls, plus a half-giant man jump-scaring them in the middle of nowhere. Not sure why I'm even mentioning this part, as I know we've all been through the same thing. Pretty standard school entry, I know. Before school starts, I have a few errands. First, I have to talk a kid into jumping off a ledge, cause a massive explosion in the street, and go to the bank. What? They don't all have to be evil actions. Finally, at school, I quickly discover the best spell a person could know, being a rat. I always knew it was magical. I sure hope this rat doesn't turn out to be a creepy wizard, but there's no way that can happen to me yet again. In my first class, I learned how to levitate anything I please. It's a vital spell, being LEGO wizards are evidently the laziest bunch, refusing to build if it's not through magic. You'd think Ron trapping these students high up would cause the teacher to lend a hand, but nope. He and everyone else just sit and watch as we save the helpless children. And don't you dare try and get the teacher's help. He'll just freeze you and then ignore you. That's wonderful. It's good to see Hogwarts follows the every child left behind approach to teaching. Cleaning up that Ron mess, I find myself facing off with a troll. Come on, guys, it's my first day here. I know one spell. Why is it always my job to save the day? At least I get paid big money for it, even if I have to ride toilet water to get that money. I've done worse for less. The troll goes down with a few taps on the noggin, and we head to our next class instead of suing Hogwarts for reckless endangerment. But don't worry, here we learn the flashlight spell, so that's pretty illuminating at least. In fact, we're once again the only ones learning anything. I guess those other kids don't really need an education, do they? Only main characters are allowed that. Though, it's not really doing Ron much good, is it? It's nice to see that 2 out of the 3 classes I've been in so far have resulted in child endangerment, where I'd like to point out, once again, the teachers do absolutely nothing to help out. Heading to flying practice, I come across one of the oddest editing moments I've ever seen in LEGO when the camera really insists on making it clear that Harry has pulled off an amazing catch. Just in case you missed how miraculous of a catch it was the first time, I suppose. Throughout the game, potions are a common necessity in order to progress, which would normally be fine, except the most commonly appearing, the strength potion, requires a human bone arm to complete. You'd think at a school this would be hard to find, but then you need to remember, this is Hogwarts, where they excel in great grades and even a greater amount of corpses. But hey, I get to bounce around on a pumpkin to my heart's content, so I'm okay overlooking some small details like that. I'm sure this student here will find his way free of that strangling plant sooner or later. If not, another potion ingredient for me, right? While Harry fights for his life on a broomstick while dozens of very capable teachers merely watch, Ron and Hermione get to work saving him. I love how many times I'd not be able to progress without Ron. Not because he's useful at all, no, but because he happens to carry around a very intelligent rat. Ron is merely the delivery person for our heroes' scabbers. When it's time to go sneak around Hogwarts after hours, I make use of the invisibility cloak to remain well invisible. Ron is Ron though and manages to get caught. I mean, I did just spend the last minute harassing the caretaker without him noticing in the slightest, and he even walked right past Ron standing fully visible before him. We probably never would have been caught, in fact, if I hadn't switched to Ron, right next to Filch, and then back to Harry before he could grab me. This is for the best, though. Ron has this coming, I promise you. Sadly, I can't progress without Scabbers the rat, so I'm forced to free Ron. He's sure lucky he's got that rat. All this risk just so we can look into a mirror. The vanity of these children. I mean, Harry gets to see his dead parents again, so I guess I can't fault him that. But I can easily fault Ron. Hogwarts has been dangerous, sure, but not dangerous enough, I guess, as it's time to head into the Forbidden Forest. Here, Giant Wasp will actively try and kill us, but I have the power of dog on my side now. Also, my second favorite spell is found with Hagrid, Avada Crossbow. It's highly effective. With Big Doggo and Crossbow, the forest is easily conquered, but there remains one last threat of year 1. Investigating Professor Quirrell, we land in a trap of plants. Okay, well, Ron lands in the trap anyways. I actively push Hermione into the other. What are friends for, after all? Escaping that, Ron manages to trip as we head into the boss fight, leaving him behind. In the boss fight against Quirrell, I don't want to waste Hermione's assistance, so I make sure every blast he sends hits her instead of me. Beating Quirrell is simple, because like all children, Harry possesses acid-like skin, and merely touching the professor burns him to death. Same exact thing happened to my 4th grade teacher. With that traumatic murder done, the first year at Hogwarts is over. I begin my 2nd year by spinning and chucking a bunch of defenseless gnomes around. Not sure why this is a thing, but I guess summer vacation has made Harry a tad bit eviler. I do try and balance out the moral scale by running over Ron a bunch with a giant pumpkin. I then have to track down Ginny, Ron's evasive little sister, and when I do, this painting of Ron's family chucks a grenade at me. Somehow surviving that, my life is forfeit the next moment when a box eats me. Wow, unexpected. Guess it's only fair given the amount of boxes I destroy on the regular. It was only a matter of time till one got revenge for its people. Second time fighting Quirrell proved even easier than the first when I realized I could just hide behind this pillar and all his blasts would hit it, not me. Pillar 1, dark magic, 0. Back again, I make sure to shoot the box quickly, then jump inside it for good measure. Really prove I no longer fear its power. Reaching Hogwarts, I'm taught how to handle a screaming plant baby. Earmuffs are good and well, but have we tried not ripping them from their pots by their hair? Feels like this wouldn't be a problem if we just tried that. At least they're useful for driving Ron insane. Quidditch time is here again, and you know what that means. Harry's life is in terrible danger while everyone just stares on, except the few people who ever do anything around here. We chase around Dobby, the house elf who is putting Harry in danger, and beat him up a ton. Bit harsh, maybe, but just be glad Hagrid didn't bring his crossbow along this time. When we need a potion to heal Harry's injuries, we don't just find the arm bone, but the entire skeleton. At least he puts up a great little jig before he's reduced to bits and pieces again. I'm right behind him when I put in a practice duel against Draco Malfoy. You'd think these things would be safer, being we're all 12-year-olds, but nope, it's to the death. Playing through the first year yet again, when I reach Malfoy again, I barely survive a duel for a second time. But survive I do. It's not enough to knock Draco to the ground though. Harry also decides it's time to impersonate his friends in order to spy on him. You don't murder me and think I'll simply let it go at that, do you? I'm far too much of a vengeful breed for that. Even if it means I'll have to murder this random bystander here in order to get a hold of a piece of his hair for my potion, I'll do it. Voldemort has nothing on me. Now disguised, I attack every student I see without fear of consequences, except for the fact that Hogwarts is a school that supports instant payback, and I nearly die to the blast of those same students. Thankfully, reaching the next level brings my health back to full, just in time for me to drug these cupcakes to knock out 2 bullies so that Ron and I can steal their hair and then their identities. Sadly, all those totally reasonable and not at all bad actions come to nothing, except for Hermione being frozen in the meanwhile. Guess it's time for a second excursion into the girls' bathroom so we can battle a ghost girl. Moaning Myrtle here is quite easy to beat using the Force. I mean, our magic. And I get the wonderful reward of Ron getting knocked out by a book. Yay! Oh, and the book proves useful too, as I can now go back in time. I wouldn't think literally, as it's a diary, but nope, I'm actually here it seems. I team up with Tom Riddle, who I gotta say seems like a really, really great guy, and just, well, making our way through Hogwarts. That's the whole level. My good bud Tom and me just trying to navigate this very hard to travel castle. It's not any easier in the modern day either, with constant barriers and dangers, making me wonder how any student is ever on time for class. At least I got Tom here to help me. If only Ron was more like this delightful fella. Coming back to modern times is jarring. Sure, because the first person I'm stuck waking up to is Ron, but also because there's so many spiders. I've always been a fan of spiders personally, but it does worry me a tad when there's just so many, and absolutely no one else is responding to their existence. So I'm a little worried that I'm truly gone and cracked. Am I the only one that finds this a tad bit worrisome? I am the only one dumb enough to follow them into the woods though. No surprise when I face off in a boss battle against the Papa Spider. He's actually quite easy to beat by spinning his children wildly and then chucking them at him. It's usually how I fight all parents actually. Good to see it works as well on spiders as it does on people. I even managed to save this random student out here by accident as well. Which, if we hadn't happened to be out here, he would have surely been devoured. Once again, how is this school still open? I continue to ask that question even more so upon tracking Hermione's attacker underneath the girls' bathroom. Look how many skeletons there are. How? How is this school still allowed to be open? If that's not bad enough, a squid shows up the next second and we have to kill it with a plunger. Because, of course, that might as well happen. Going against the Basilisk, the final boss, I'm once again separated from Ron. I may be in terrible danger in each of these fights, but at least it gets me a break from that guy. Tom Riddle's the one controlling the giant murderous snake, but I blame myself. I probably shouldn't have spent so long blasting with the baby plant back in the past. I'm sure we can work out this minor problem in our friendship. Old Snaky is quite easy to avoid and goes down in rather a dramatic death. Now to stop the real villain, Jenny. She's flinging Tom every which way. Leave my buddy alone. With year 2 over, year 3 starts in an epic boss battle against a book. The ultimate symbol of education, the book seeks to devour me, but I hold nothing back, beating it into submission, proving no matter how hard life tries, I will never learn. Hopping on the train to Hogwarts, it's not long before it's besieged by Dementors. These freaky ghost guys have a real problem about kissing everything they see, taking their soul and whatnot, but I'll have none of it. Well, they do use it on Ron, but I'm just a big fluffy orange cat, so what's that to me? Nothing I could have done to prevent it. Only hard part of the level is covering up every window, cause Professor Lupin here doesn't like moonlight for some reason. If his name was an obvious enough hint why, perhaps the words werewolf, clearly printed under his name, is a bit more of a giveaway. Later, I attack Lupin for the heck of it, and he transforms me into a frog as punishment. How does he think this is a punishment? Now I'm living the ideal life. No worries about school, evil kissing ghost, or anything for me. Just the content life of a frog. Sadly, it wears off, and I'm forced back into the grind. While trying to sneak out of the school into nearby Hogsmeade for fun and games, I discover my way blocked by passage only openable by a small animal. Neither cat nor rat are with me, so I use a potion to transform into Ron. Despite being a terrible experience becoming Ron, I find it more strange how altering my appearance to look like him suddenly gives me his rat. I didn't think that's how an appearance-changing potion works, but what do I know? When Scabbers runs off, we give chase, and before we know it, Ron and Scabbers are getting dragged away by a big dog. Not Scabbers! You can have Ron, but why the rat? Before we can give chase, we have to survive this huge thumping tree because, you know, every single thing at Hogwarts wants us dead. The tree is very easily thwarted though when I realize standing on this nearby plant keeps me out of harm's way, making for the safest boss fight of all. Tracking Scabbers down, both Professor Lupin and escaped prisoner Sirius Black pop up in the shack we're in. I play as them as I face one of the hardest challenges of my life, hunting down a fellow rat. Scabbers has been far more useful than practically anyone, but now it's time to catch him. Using the power of cheese, which come on, a tad stereotypical, eh? Scabbers is caught and revealed to be Peter Pettigrew. Frick. Yep, yet another rat turning out to be an evil wizard. Happens every time. It would be over here, but Lupin's werewolf nature reveals itself, and I gotta say, I was expecting more. I didn't realize he just looked like a man with a wolf mask on. Oh well, this level has been full of harsh realities. I don't get to fight Lupin, but I do face off with plenty of Dementors. Stop trying to kiss children, you freaks! Who thought filling the school with you guys was a good idea? The final boss fight against the Dementors is actually quite challenging, as I struggle to keep the hordes of them off me. Only Harry has the spell to destroy them, with Hermione doing nothing, and of course Ron not being here at the end per usual. I have to keep jumping and casting my spell, cause Harry's much too slow about it when just standing. Stupid swish and flick is gonna get me killed. I barely survived the fight, but doing so brings an end to year 3. Every year seems to get harder to survive than last, just like in real life, and year 4 is no different. When the Quidditch World Cup event is attacked, the first level begins with a deadly battle against waves of Death Eaters. Unfortunately, this is not a gang of hardcore speed-eating competitors, but Voldemort's cult of crazy people. I mean, they could be both, who knows? All I know is I can't keep up with their endless blasts from all sides, and down I go. Just started my 4th year and I'm dead already. That's not a good sign. Thankfully, making it through the other years really isn't any trouble, though I do notice this one student has been stuck hanging here for over 3 years now. Someone really should help the guy. Oh well. Even the final fight against the Dementors doesn't cause me much trouble as I jump around like a madman shooting off my spells. And upon reaching the Death Eater fight again, it actually goes much, much better as I realize dodging about just won't work. It's much easier to stay in the middle, hugging the wall, and only moving when needed while endlessly firing off shots. This allows me maximum time to avoid shots and leads to victory. With that trauma in the past, it's back to school with us. I guess too many students have been surviving lately, and so the Tri-Wizard Tournament is underway to change that. These are highly dangerous and quite easy to die in, but hey, it's in the name of fun, so does it really matter if a few students are maimed along the way? That seems to be the teacher's thoughts anyways. At least I get to visit the dragons before they try and murder me, and the best part is some odd glitch has made it so I have double the Hagrid and double the doggo to come along with me. I'm not sure why, but if I'm gonna have 2 of anyone, these are the best to get duplicated. Facing off against the dragon is surprisingly easy, especially since it seems to only want to kill Harry, and for whatever reason, I'm Hermione. Works with me. While preparing for the second test, I nearly meet my end by the sudden attack of scorpions. I barely move fast enough to escape them. Thankfully, the rest of the level's easy, and so is the next one as I face no real threats from underwater life. The final task throws me into a hedge maze, but other than a crazy dude running through the bushes, it's not much of a threat. Bit creepy though. Reaching the end of the maze, I find myself pit against Lord Voldemort, the Dark Lord himself. I really expected quite the combat here, but surprisingly, this is one of the easiest fights of the game. I merely blast a couple Death Eaters, tap X with all my might, and then repeat. Pointing your wand as hard as you can at someone doesn't always have the flair you'd like it to. With that win, we escape! Huzzah! Not only have we beaten LEGO Harry Potter years 1 through 4 without dying, we also get to watch Ron get slapped. Poor guy. After 3 deaths over 13 hours and 38 minutes, my final run took me 5 hours and 13 minutes. The hardest part of the run was working with Ron. Either that or facing off against the horde of Death Eaters at the start of year 4. You know, it's actually pretty hard to say what was the easiest part of the game this time around. I never died in year 3, but it did worry me quite a bit, and while year 4 started off the most dangerous, every level after it was quite simple. I've played many LEGO games now, but I'd have to classify LEGO Harry Potter as the least dangerous, as of now. LEGO Batman 1 may have had less deaths, but years 1 through 4 was definitely more puzzle focused than combat focused than any other I've played yet. With that, I thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. While you can't award 10 points to Shenanigoon, me, like you can Gryffindor, perhaps leave a like or subscribe for more adventures with me if you'd like. Now, go have a magical day, and maybe avoid Hogwarts for your own sake. See you later, friends.